Good day, everyone. Welcome to Living with a Thought, the first podcast. Today, the topic for today, as a start off, I'd like to talk about legacy. Now, what is legacy? Um, just define it: leaving something behind for those that you love, like money, so that for your kids, so that your kids could be able to live off well after you have passed on. Uh, I find it interesting, particularly looking at the history that uh, we as black people come from, previously disadvantaged, particularly in South Africa. We need to start asking ourselves serious questions, and I think one of them is around the issue of legacy. What is it that we're leaving for our kids? I think it's very important as a parent. I myself, I am a parent of two boys, and I often ask myself this question: what am I going to leave for my kids? If I was to die today, what is it that I leave for my kids today, not tomorrow, today? And obviously, it's also important to ask yourself, what is it that you will leave for your kids in 10 years' time, and where do you would like to where do you would like them to be? But I think the most important thing is that you aim to improve the life for your kids, so that your kids do not have to go through or jump over the same obstacle that you have to overcome, or jump over the hoops that you have to jump. So you would ideally want to create a situation where your kids could thrive, they could follow their dreams, and they do not have to experience what you experience. Because then, here's my thing: if I'm going through something right now, in the workplace, in the society that I live in, what I intend to do for my kids is to at least educate them about it, so that they know about it. If I cannot control it, if I can control it, what I would like to do for them is that they do not have to go through it, because it does not make sense for me to go through it only for my kids to go through it. What's that famous line from a rap from Jay-Z said? Hope went through that, hopefully you won't have to do that. Like, because that means that I didn't learn a lesson. Because in order for me to learn a lesson is for me to go through it, and then make sure that the future generation or my kids do not have to go through that. Which speaks to what I'm talking to now, which is legacy. So what are you leaving behind for your kids? That's a question that everybody, especially parents, those of you who are parents, need to answer for themselves. For me, I think I like to leave a lot of money for my kids. Um, not just because they will be rich and their life will be easier, because money gives you choice and option, but also so that they can follow their dreams. I find out that when you have money, you are able to follow your passions and your and do things that you are mostly enthusiastic about, if that's the word. Because if you don't have money, you might have to do what you do not like just so that you can get money. So you are forced to do things that you may not like. So when you speak about legacy, I think as parents, or as people living who have dependents, we need to start thinking to say, okay, what is it that we're going to leave for our kids? And it could be investment, could be a business that they'll inherit, money that they'll get on the well, because it's very important. I think it would be crazy for us to complain about things that we go through in the workplace, about being treated unfairly, not being given the opportunities, not being paid in parity with your white counterparts, and let our kids go through the same thing. That's crazy. That means that we didn't make a lesson, we didn't do anything about the problems that we went through. I mean, imagine if the people who founded ANC, and I know that there were other people involved, not specifically from ANC, but imagine they never fought for apartheid to be abolished, they never went to prison. Things might have more or less, might have taken longer. I don't think we'll still be going through apartheid, in this day and age, but because the world is globalized, so information would have leaked and somebody would have done something, but definitely things would have taken longer, because they would have just said and not do anything. So their legacy they left behind us was that they abolished apartheid. So they went through what they went through so that we didn't have to go through that. Now we've got our own struggle, like fees must fall, and now that is politically speaking or economically speaking, that is one of the few things we can leave for our kids as this generation. Fees must fall so that our kids, our grandkids, do not have to pay this exorbitant amount of fees that we pay. Personally, I'm still owing varsity. I'm still paying every month towards my varsity fees. I know a lot of people, and it's not just within the black community. I know white people are still paying off their varsity fees as well. So it shows that there's a big problem of fees, and it's not in South Africa alone. In America, the biggest thing is that get people in debt. It's college fees. So it would rather seem that university fees are expensive all over the world, and it's not a bad thing to fight for development. But that's a topic for another day. Today, what we're talking about, it's legacy. What is it that you're leaving for your kids behind? So whatever you're going through now, whatever you're thinking, you must always think 10 years from now, your kids, your grandkids, what are they going to be left with? And I think it would be crazy to only leave them behind with a surname. You need to leave them behind with more than that. You need to give them, money, create platforms for them. Even if it's not money, it could be network for them to be able to thrive or use in the future. And that could be a result of a good school that you send them to, or a sport club that you made them join, or traveling around the world, or social events, or sending them to, it could be anything. But you need to leave your kids with something other than just a surname. A surname is not enough. Otherwise, your family, in your family lineage, there will be a huge delay in terms of financial well-being. Your kids will have to start from where you started, which is crazy, because then you can't live the entire life. Say die at 80, that means you live 8 years, and you never change the situation, for your kids. For me, that's the biggest worry. That's what keeps me up at night. That's what keeps me sweating and stressing, because I'm thinking, what am I leaving for my kids? I wouldn't want my kids to go through whatever I'm going through now, to have to deal with the same stuff that I'm dealing through now, because I don't think that is a right way to go about it. Because if I'm going through it now, my kids do not have to go through it now. And that's all for this episode. That's all I'm gonna leave you with. Tuned in for more. Next time we'll talk about black business. Thank you for watching, and that's leaving you for the thought for this week. Cheers.